The Memoirs and the Papas were more than just a band. In the mid-1960s, they became the soundtrack of a cultural shift. Their voices drifted out of radios at a time when America was wrestling with war, civil rights, generational rebellion, and the search for identity. With four distinct personalities, John Phillips, Michelle Phillips, Denny Doherty, and Cass Elliot, they created harmonies that felt almost effortless. Yet behind the smooth blend of California Dreamin' and Monday was a storm of ambition, romance, jealousy, and heartbreak that would follow each of them long after the spotlight dimmed. Their rise was fast. Their collapse was dramatic. And the way each of them left this world tells a story not just about fame, but about the personal costs that often come with it. Denny Doherty's journey began far from the bright lights of Los Angeles. Born in Halifax, Nova Scotia, on November 29, 1940, he grew up surrounded by maritime culture and a strong Irish Catholic background. Music wasn't just entertainment to him. It was an escape. As a teenager, he joined local groups like the Hipsters and later the Halifax Three, sharpening his vocal style and learning the discipline of group performance. Those early folk harmonies would become the foundation of everything that followed. When the Halifax Three dissolved, fate nudged Doherty towards something bigger. He eventually joined the New Journeymen, a folk trio with John Phillips and Michelle Phillips. That collaboration proved pivotal. With the addition of Cass Elliot, the quartet transformed into the Mamas and the Papas. Doherty's warm tenor became one of the group's defining elements. On songs like Monday, his voice carried both optimism and longing, helping turn simple melodies into emotional statements. But fame intensified personal entanglements. Doherty fell in love with Michelle Phillips during the band's early years, a secret affair that exploded into internal conflict. Cass Elliot reportedly harbored feelings for Doherty herself, creating a triangle of tension that seeped into rehearsals and recording sessions. The group's chemistry, both musical and romantic, became volatile. Substance use and ego clashes added to the instability. By 1968, the band fractured under the weight of its own success. After the breakup, Doherty pursued a solo career, though he never recreated the commercial heights of the group. He recorded albums, toured modestly, and eventually expanded into acting. In Canada, he hosted television programs and became a respected cultural figure. One of his most personal projects came in the 1990s with a stage production Dream a Little Dream, which revisited the story of the Memoirs and the Papas from his perspective. It was both a tribute and a confession, an acknowledgement of the beauty and chaos they had shared. Denny Doherty died on January 19, 2007, at the age of 66. His passing marked the end of a life shaped by harmony and heartbreak. Though his later years were quieter, his voice remains inseparable from the sound of a generation. Cass Elliot's story is perhaps the most mythologized and misunderstood. Born Ellen Naomi Cohen on September 19, 1941, in Baltimore, Maryland, she grew up in a family that valued culture and creativity. Her mother's musical background nurtured Cass's confidence early on. Even as a teenager, she possessed an outside personality and an even bigger voice. After moving to Virginia, she immersed herself in school theater and local performances, determined to build a life in entertainment. In the early 1960s, she formed a folk group called the Big Three, gaining modest exposure through television appearances. Later, she joined the Mugwumps, a short-lived band that served as a stepping stone for several musicians who would shape the decade's sound. But it was her eventual collaboration with John and Michelle Phillips and Denny Doherty that transformed her career. Cass's contralto voice added richness and depth to the Memoirs and the Papas. Songs like California Dreamin' gained emotional weight through her phrasing and power. She wasn't just another harmony, she was a force. Audiences were drawn to her charisma, humor, and confidence. Yet the band's internal dynamics often left her feeling isolated. She reportedly struggled for full creative inclusion during the group's formation and dealt with unreciprocated romantic feelings toward Doherty. After the band dissolved, Cass embarked on a solo career that showcased her versatility. Her rendition of Dream a Little Dream of Me became a signature hit, proving she could command attention without the group behind her. She made numerous television appearances, guest-hosted major programs, and cultivated an image that balanced glamour with warmth. Despite industry pressures and persistent scrutiny about her weight, she remained unapologetically herself. On July 29, 1974, Cass Elliot died in London at just 32 years old after completing a triumphant run of performances at the London Palladium. A damaging rumor quickly circulated that she had choked on a sandwich, a story that persisted for decades despite official report confirming heart failure as a cause. The myth unfairly overshadowed her accomplishments, reducing complex artists to a punchline. In reality, her death was attributed to heart issue consistent with myocardial infarction. The tragedy cut short a life that had only begun to explore its full potential. John Phillips, born August 30th, 1935, in South Carolina, was often considered the architect of the group. Ambitious and driven, he shaped the Mamas and Papas image and sound. Before forming the band, he led the Journeymen, developing his songwriting skills and refining his vision for what a vocal group could be. With the Mamas and the Papas, he became the principal songwriter, crafting lyrics that balanced melancholy with sun-drenched optimism. His leadership, however, came with complications. Phillips battled substance abuse for much of his adult life. Drugs and alcohol affected his relationships and professional reliability. After the band breakup, he released The Wolf King of L.A., a solo album that later gained cult status but failed commercially at the time. He collaborated with notable artists and remained active in the industry, but personal struggles often overshadowed his musical contributions. Perhaps the most controversial chapter of his life emerged years later, when his daughter Mackenzie Phillips publicly alleged an inappropriate and deeply troubling relationship during her adolescence. The claims cast a long shadow over his legacy, complicating how history remembers him. John Phillips died on March 18, 2001, from heart failure. His creative brilliance is undeniable, yet his personal life remains a subject of debate and discomfort. Michelle Phillips stands as a surviving member of the group. Born June 4, 1944, in Long Beach, California, she brought clarity and elegance to the band's harmonies. Married to John Phillips during the group's rise, she co-wrote several songs and contributed significantly to their visual identity. Her affair with Denny Doherty nearly caused her expulsion from the band at one point, illustrating how intertwined personal and professional lives had become. After the group ended, Michelle transitioned successfully into acting. She appeared in films such as Dillinger, earning a Golden Globe nomination, and later starred in television series like Knots Landing. Her acting career spanned decades, demonstrating resilience beyond the music world. Her personal life included several marriages, including a famously brief union with actor Dennis Hopper. Though she did not face the early death that claimed her bandmates, Michelle witnessed a gradual passing of the group she once helped define. She remains a living link to that era, carrying both the triumph and turbulence of the 1960s music revolution. The Mamas and the Papas embodied the paradox of the decade they defined. Their music radiated warmth, freedom, and unity. Yet behind the harmonies were fractured relationships, addiction battles, romantic betrayals, and unresolved tensions. Each member's death, or survival, reflected different paths shaped by fame's intensity.